Every Minecraft player knows that caves can be dangerous. You can find lava, deep ravines, hostile mobs, and hidden structures. But sometimes, players discover things that should not exist at all. The following stories were shared by different players. Nobody could explain what happened, and some of them never played the same world again. Story 1. The tunnel ended at a door. One player was exploring a large cave system below bedrock level. He had already been mining for over an hour. The cave seemed normal. Stone, coal, a few abandoned rails. Nothing unusual. Then he found a tunnel. Unlike the natural caves around it, this tunnel was perfectly straight. It looked almost man-made. The walls were smooth, the floor was flat, and torches were placed at equal distances. The player followed the tunnel. For several minutes, it continued without changing direction. No side passages, no oars, nothing. Then suddenly, he saw something at the end. A door. Just a single wooden door standing in the darkness. There were no walls around it, no structure, only a door. He approached slowly. His heart was racing. When he opened it, there was nothing behind it, only solid stone. The player laughed and assumed it was some strange world generation bug. But when he turned around, the tunnel behind him was gone. Only rough cave walls remained. The perfectly straight tunnel had disappeared completely. He immediately left the world and never found the location again. Story 2. The torch was still burning. Another player decided to revisit a survival world he had not opened for years. The world was old, very old, created in one of Minecraft's earliest versions. Most of the world had already been explored. He spent the evening walking through old mines and forgotten tunnels. Eventually, he found a small cave near spawn. The cave looked familiar. Then he remembered. This was one of the first places he had explored years ago. He entered the cave. The deeper he went, the more memories returned. Then he reached a dead end, and there he saw a single torch, still burning. The strange part was that he clearly remembered removing every torch before leaving the cave years ago. He was absolutely certain. Yet, the torch remained. The player decided to break it. The moment it disappeared, a second torch appeared deeper in the darkness. He froze. There was no way someone else had placed it. The world was single player. The cave had never been shared. He slowly walked toward the new torch. But before reaching it, the game suddenly crashed. When he reopened the world, both torches were gone. Story 3. The room shouldn't exist. One player was exploring an abandoned mineshaft. Everything seemed normal. Broken rails, cobwebs, dark corridors. Then he noticed a hole behind a wall. The opening was small, almost hidden. Curious, he dug through. Behind the wall was a large square room, perfectly symmetrical. The room contained dozens of red torches. Every wall was covered with them. The floor was completely empty. No chests, no spawners, no ores, nothing. Only red torches. The player checked online. No structure like this existed in Minecraft. He took screenshots. Then he left to gather more supplies. When he returned, the room had vanished. The wall was solid stone again. His screenshots had also disappeared, as if the room had never existed. Story 4. The figure below bedrock. A player using experimental world settings discovered a massive underground void beneath the lowest layers of the world. He built a bridge to explore further. At first, everything looked empty. Then he noticed movement. Far away in the darkness stood a tall figure. The figure did not move. It simply watched. The player zoomed in. Two glowing eyes stared back at him. He tried to approach. The figure remained perfectly still. After several minutes, he finally reached the location. Nothing was there. No blocks, no mobs, nothing. But when he checked the recording afterward, the figure was visible in every frame, standing motionless, watching him. Story 5. He was just fishing. One evening, a player decided to relax by a lake near his base. The sun was setting. Everything felt peaceful. He cast his fishing rod into the water. Several minutes passed. Then he noticed something on the opposite shore. A dark figure. At first he assumed it was a normal mob, but it never moved. It simply stood there, watching. The player ignored it. When he looked back a few minutes later, the figure was closer, much closer, still watching. No movement, no sounds, just staring. The player became uncomfortable and returned home. That night, he logged out. The next day, he entered the world again. Everything seemed normal until he went to sleep. As the screen faded to black, he saw two glowing eyes beneath the bed. The game immediately crashed. He never opened that world again. These stories may sound impossible. Most people would call them bugs, coincidences, or imagination. Maybe they are right, but every player who experienced these events tells the same thing. The fear felt real, and sometimes that is enough, because deep underground, in places where nobody should be, some things may still be watching, waiting for the next player to arrive. To be continued.